Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live Test Labs. We are out here on the park perimeter loop for 4 laps. This week is week number 3 in the test labs. I'm going to be commentating solo today. Nathan Gary, your commentator here, out on the New York course. A couple of things, if you're unfamiliar with what the test labs are all about, every week we are looking to test new features, new ways of tweaking the game in order to create the most entertaining and fun racing that we can have out on Zwift. The last couple of weeks we've been looking at slowing the blob or the peloton down a little bit, also trying to help with creating more breaks. The main difference that we made this week, so last 2 weeks we've been out on the Watopia Hilly course, some original type racing that was on one of the original courses that was for racing. One of the courses that we saw a lot of action from, sharp attacks on a punchy climb, but a single climb essentially, plus also having the Essies on the back end, which is just a series of little punchers, but really not a lot of opportunities besides that one climb. So we headed on over toward the park perimeter loop on New York for this week for 4 laps, which has a lot more opportunities to attack out there if what we're trying to do does work with bringing the ability to attack a little bit higher, a few more opportunities, perhaps we could say, from some of the tweaks that we have created. Also, all offensive power-ups are on today, minus the drafting power-ups, so there will be no drafting power-ups as well. There will be no experience power-ups, obviously, either. We do have, it looks like, about 4 minutes to the start of the race out here today. Now, I did see a post out there today from the Fusion team, and shout out to them. They are doing an amazing job from what I'm seeing there. As far as working with a race promoter, the things that they're up to there look absolutely awesome. And we are thinking about maybe moving around the test labs to perhaps be able to cover that series, because the work that they are doing over at Fusion, it looks like, is exactly what we want to see coming out of the community when it comes to putting the work in. Also, the Grand Fondo series, the Grind Fondo, the Morning Grind Fondo series has started up again as well. That's another series I wanted to mention to make sure to check out on Wednesdays. Those guys are also doing an amazing job, the kind of things that we want to see from race promoters in the community. So be on the watch out for next week to see if things do change up as far as what we are covering over the next week and the date and time to participate, because it may change. We got to double check, and we just heard about the Fusion ECT new series that just launched just today, so might be a little bit before we're able to work out exactly what we're going to be doing as far as that goes. So so this week again we are out on the park perimeter loop, 4 laps here, as you can see out on New York, and we got 20 riders, it looks like, in the A category here. A lot of KISS Racing team. I do know that we are going to have Canyon ZCC showing up again this week. BRT has shown up in force as well for the A categories. For the B category, they'll be starting just a minute after the A category here. We have separated out. That's another feedback that we did take. And for those of you that do not know, feedback is very much welcome. Last week we took feedback over on ZwiftPower.com forums. This week we're working out to have the feedback coming on through the forums over on Zwift's official forums. It was my first time posting on Zwift forums, actually, so they were waiting for the post to actually go live. So if those of you are clicking over toward the that are clicking on that post in order to comment there, it should be live soon. We're waiting for the approval, as they're making sure that Nathan is not a bot. We even need to make sure that we are not bots in the real life as well. It seems like we're no hacks here to make anything happen as far as the broadcast go. Good afternoon, Nathan, and all of Zwift. I'm hearing from Jerry Delport. Good to see you, Jerry. And for those of you guys that are just tuning in over on Facebook or Twitch, you can go ahead and interact with the broadcast, as always, through our social media integration. You can tweet at us at Z Community Live. That is an easy way to do it, as well as comment on the Twitch, as you can see at the bottom of the little interactive there. Jerry Delport is not watching on Twitch, and it has the little Twitch symbol at the bottom. You can also comment on YouTube, Facebook, obviously Twitter, as we saw, as we can see here as well with Racing Mike. Good to see Mike Szymanski hanging out. Nathan Bott is confirmed here. 52 seconds to the start of the race today. The idea today, again, you guys, many opportunities we can have in order to try and create breakaways or create the kind of racing you want to see that's entertaining, right? Some of you might be just looking for that draft and wait for the sprint. If you're that kind of sprinter, a lot of the racers out here looking to take opportunities and use that energy that you reserve by drafting. We turned double draft off today. I'm wondering, and we're seeing if the blob or the peloton will behave differently. The peloton was still rolling up on the breakaways pretty quickly and not having to match exactly the kind of wattage, or not exactly, but we're not having to match the wattage quite as highly as those who are in the breakaways. We wanted to try and help and create that kind of a situation. We'll see if it does change up again this week here. So we are kicking off here, those you can see, into the A category racing here. Vank here, 9.5 off the get-go here. We'll see if the starts are crazy fast again. Now, it'll be interesting to see with the double draft off if the if there's not quite as many breaks that are able to try and happen, though, because there's not quite as much energy in reserve. One thing that the mad scientist Greg Leo has said to us over and over again is that we do have, the resources that we have to work with, like you do in a strategic situation in Zwift, are essentially time and energy, right? You have a certain amount of time and a certain amount of energy to work with. And the more energy that we can give to the riders, except for they need to do training, obviously, to get those glycogen reserves. But the more energy we can give to the riders and to be able to use that in certain amounts of time, the better we're doing our job in some respects. And so we definitely want to try and, within reason, obviously, make that happen. So we'll have to see 4 laps here, as you can see here. Out, kicking off, see Mox in here. Bergenski, it looks like Kroll now. Mary, and then it's going to be Carol up toward the front here, coming out of Sweden on the good old Z Power. So we're probably going to try and let that rider go, as it looks like he can hang out at 4.9 all day long. Good to see him jumping into the race here, but we will have the no Z Power winners on the results there as well over on zwiftpower.com. That's another thing that I'm liking about the rules for the Fusion ECT, that they are definitely doing a good job of enforcing their rules as race promoters there, and that's definitely something we want to work with for our broadcasting as well. So now jumping in with the B category, we do have 2020. ShowAir 2020 has shown up on the day to jump into the B category. They've been helping out week after week here with the testing, giving good feedback, actually, that we have been getting directly from ShowAir 2020. We do have Amanda Coker here now, as well as it looks like Sheena Paulus, both from ShowAir 2020, mixing it up amongst the men and the women in this B category. 28 riders starting out on the park perimeter loop. We'll keep eyes out on these racers as they do head on over toward the northern park loop, northern climb out there. Quentin LaFay's out there as well from Zwift HQ. Good to see Quentin, who is one of the social media managers now over there. Godfrey here, CM Sports, now we are seeing here, as well as Lewin coming out of Belgium. So good to see these riders starting off their test labs. I have a feeling we're not going to see too many attacks, though, out there until we do hit until we do actually hit that first climb in the northern part of the park. After that, there are some undulations that do take place. So we jump into the C category here. 24 riders have shown up in here today for the C category. We'll be watching Zwift Power for the D category out there. Again, I want to. We are going to be having our D category feed coming in toward the end of the race, but we will definitely be adding a fourth setup, or hopefully having our broadcast tools by next week to be able to cover all of the D category. But shout out to Colin Bradley, as well as Sarah Willoughby, Christian Brandt, Neville Botham, as well as Pal Ringholm, Roland Vuglers, and Wanna Be here out there in the D category. We see you. And we want to shout out to you, and we will be looking to cover your sprint at the end of the race after the C category does finish, if we can jump in with them. Now, it might be a little difficult. We are still waiting on our broadcast tools. As soon as we do have our broadcast tools, it will be much easier for us to cover all of the races and categories out there. So back in with the A's as they're heading into the downhill section of this northern part of the park. And as we do see this, an attack is already off the front here with McCauley from GMC out of New Zealand with that verified badge. Good to see him hammering away here. Melting Tile now trying to follow this up here. Now this may be the first section where we're going to get a little bit of a break going on here. KRT trying to shut this down, as you can see, looking from the sky view here. Here comes KRT with Vang now out of Norway, the mountain biker. Kalen there as well from KRT. The Kiss Racing team showing up in force out here today. Tron bike off the front with Morton Vang. Kalen following up. Dafford Williams 10 watts per kilometer. And the Kiss Racing team looking to create a breakaway situation here, it looks like. Gake's now trying to go along with it out of the Netherlands here with that Zwift Academy badge on. Getting warmed up, it looks like, for his take on the Academy. But no, a break is going to take place here, it looks like, as Farup here now, one of the highest ranked racers on Zwift Power, actually, Farup, trying to go across 9.7 watts per kilogram here on this 10% grade. Now this is where it really starts to kick, and the riders are able at this point a lot of times to get a little bit of distance here. Levi trying to go here. Davis going to go try and get across here from Team Experimental. The break is there without double draft on. Now we're going to see how these breaks stick or not. And this is about the proof being in the pudding, everybody. That's why we are doing these test labs. We want to see how it acts in a race situation. And will that, now that we've turned off double draft, will it not roll through? And that was the question that we had, was the double draft creating an extra amount of speed for the peloton because of the amount of speed it was producing from just sitting in that draft amongst the pack and then dragging almost the avatar to the front with some extra speed that maybe was not earned completely through wattage. Now, the other question there is that just kind of normal to real-life racing? Is this going to create a situation that is more toward what is going to be a Zwift racing type of a setup for these kind of settings? We want to continue to test the settings. We want to make it entertaining. We have this world to work with, and we can make some changes. And are those changes going to make this genre of racing more exciting? We are seeing a 5-second gap here. Vyausen now be able to jump across here from Canyon. Gake's there from 3 hours with them as well. And 2 KRT riders here sitting in at the front. We got Hodges and Vang working together here. Gake's trying to jump back onto that wheel here. Far up here, 5.5 watts per kilogram. And off the back here, as you can see, of that group. Now, actually, excuse me. He's at the front, though, of the chase, driving it at 5.3 watts per kilogram with a 10-second gap here. This is something we do not usually see in Zwift racing, is a break like this able to get away. And Canyon with Stevie Young, as well as it looks like KRT with Jay Leclerc as well, and we're seeing Levi there sitting in as well from Zwift Hype and the KRT team. Kalen sitting in, allowing his teammates to do the work on the front here. Iverson from DBR here. Ward here trying to go across 9 watts per kilogram, seeing that this may be the move for the win already here today. And it's a 4, 5, 6 second gap here. Coming down, Hodges here sitting in a little bit now, as you can see. Vang at the front driving the pace, knowing that they're starting to come across. Stevie Young here now covering the move from Iverson now. And this is a make it or break it moment here in the A category race, as Stevie Young from Canyon here tries to go across, jumps on the wheel of Iverson and Ward, but Vang is still pushing the pace. Hodges now 6 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Gakes here trying to jump back onto the wheel. Absolute suffering at the front here. But as you can see, interesting to see now, these 4 riders that have gotten away, they're able to really put some work in together here. And, 4.4, 4.0 watts per kilogram sitting in, and then on the front is 6.0. This is really looking like a real-life situation where pull through over threshold and then sit in a little bit sub-threshold. Pull through over threshold, sit in, and they're working very well together. And this is one thing that I have felt, I've done a lot of Zwift racing lately, and I've been thinking a lot during the races about what I'm experiencing. And one thing that was very difficult to experience was the sit in and allow myself to get a little bit of reprieve and then go to the front and feel like I'm really able to work with the group with them with. But Martin Vang here, he's not too interested in working with anybody at this point, as Hodges and Vang continue to drive the pace here and not want to be caught. It's an 11-second gap, but how long can they keep at this kind of a pace here? Lionel jumping on and being a cagey rider. Lionel Villasin, I think, has a lot of matches to burn as he keeps sitting in at about 4.05 watts per kilogram or so. Right around his threshold, I do know that he can hold a solid 5.4 or so for 20 minutes. So Villasin here now making his way to the front, working together. They do have a 14-second gap, and I think the group at this point has thrown their arms in the air a little bit. Just the chase group here with Iverson and War, Young, and then Davis sitting in. Here comes now Levi from KRT now. He knows that this group ahead is most likely not coming back, and it is back and forth racing. Everybody, this is what we've been looking for, I think, and we might have found, we're not going to say that this is that's it. We found the right kind of setup. We do need a few more riders in there. Perhaps it's the reality of, like, we have 28 in the A category. We do not have 100 or something like that. So maybe we need to throw in amongst a larger group of riders, and maybe we'll get some more race promotion going on or work with one of the community race promoters after we tweak the settings. But the idea in these test labs, tweak the settings, get something down, and see if it works out for what we're trying to aim at here. Hodges now backing off on the front here, as you can see, 1.7 watts per kilogram as he allows Vang to just go. And this is the 1-2 here coming from the KISS Racing team now as Morton Vang attempts to get away for a TT effort here. Iverson now again within 5 seconds. The action has been so incredibly intense in the A category. It's been difficult to jump over to any of the other categories, you guys. But let's go ahead and see how things are going in this B categories. There was a break that did attempt to get away. It looks like it did happen here. Godfrey here on the chase. Looks like Shayna Paulus was able to make the break here for that B category, but there was a little bit of a kick off the front from M. Ray from 3R Racing here as they did go through the northern climb in Central Park here now. Now we are seeing Cripps. Good to see the Colonel jumping in here. Russ Cripps here out of the UK. 160 beats per minute looking to chase down perhaps his teammate there a little bit there, or back it off, it looks like, as he allows M. Ray to try and get away. Nels from Vision now, as you can see, making his way to the front, not wanting to allow the 3R racers to completely dominate this race. It does look like 3R does have a good contingency there in that red, white, and light blue out on course here with that World Bicycle Relief kit on. But Ray here from the 3R team able to get a little bit of a gap here, as it looks like some control now coming in and amongst the rest of the 3R racers here. So Vision going to try and take over at the front of this race, it looks like, at this point. We'll see if they can put some work in, chase down that 3R rider. Shayna Paulus from Show Air 2020 mixing it up amongst the group here. Let's see where the heart rate's at for her. 3.2 watts per kilogram. She's been given some really good feedback, actually. 154 beats per minute, saying that each week the little bit of tweaks there have made a little bit of difference, but we'll see if we do see any kind of major feedback this week. The main question I would have is, sitting in and amongst the pack, has there been any difference that they could see in the energy reserves that they have, not having double draft on? And, there's also the reality of trying to break away or trying to work with the group. Like, does the double draft actually reserve energy is another question, because if it's a situation where I'm not sure, like, if the pack is continually to have this roll through, I guess it would reserve energy if you're sitting in a whole lot. But if anybody who's trying to activate the race, they may feel like it doesn't reserve energy because they have to expend so much to try and get away. So anybody who's super active in the race, not being rewarded for that activity, perhaps feels like double draft makes it even a harder situation to race against the other riders out there. So interesting to see how that might play out here. Quentin LeFay now, as we're seeing from Vision, 137 beats per minute. We're trying to work together with Nels, it looked like, to bring back that attack here. A little bit of a burrito power-up being popped here off the front now. It's going to be Choppa coming out of Canada. Get to the Choppa here now, off the front by 1 second. Not really able to get anywhere with that burrito power-up. But now it's going to be McGlue here from Innovation, 8.4 watts per kilogram now. Innovation looking to go on the attack, catch up to 3R on the front of this race now, and perhaps get into a breakaway situation. 4.7 watts per kilogram coming from M. Ray. 1 second, 2 second. Looks like McGlue is going to glue himself to that wheel. And come on by. We'll see if Ray now can catch on to the glue here and stick to that draft. But Wettstein here now out of Switzerland looking to chase things down. It's only a 3-second gap. We see the pack here trying to bring things back together. Paulus now on the front doing some of the work, it looks like here. Now sitting on Wettstein's wheel now. And we'll see if it's been good to see Shayna able to mix it up with the boys here at the front of this B racing. A lot of her feedback says it's been extremely good training, and that almost like racing amongst the pro peloton, amongst the women out on, not out on Zwift, out in the real life. So been jumping into these races to get her midweek workouts here. Curtis here now, 4 seconds up off the front here in the C category. We are seeing 2.3 watts per kilogram. They got a little bit of a break as they head through the sprint section in this C category. Out these here as well, WSR sweep. We're looking for Locatus here, as well as C. McDonald here, making way to the front. We do see Szymanski from the chat. Good to see Szymanski jumping in there for the KRT team, as well as Steed here from Team Experimental. KRT's got a few riders here, it looks like, though, jumping into the C category race. Again, interesting to see 24, 28 riders in amongst each one of the categories. So all of the categories with a similar amount of racers here. So it'll be interesting to see the differences in their experience of the race and in the feedback. Now, again, if you are racing, you are watching the broadcast out there, and you are looking to give feedback, we are housing feedback over on Zwift's official forums this week. We had it last week over on ZwiftPower.com. We read through the feedback. I answered a lot of the questions and comments that came through over on the forums on ZwiftPower.com. We are moving it over to Zwift's official forums this week. So make sure to head on over to their official forums. There'll be a link in the broadcast. Right now, it may not be working just yet. Again, it was my first time posting actually in the Zwift official forums, and it got tagged as, is this spam? Is this a bot? The first time you post, a lot of times it does just need to check and see who you are as a user. So as soon as that does get up and running, we'll re-up the link, or the link might just start working. And as soon as that does happen, after your race, let us know what you thought. We want to be open and as transparent as we can be about what the changes have been. And so what we are trying to do is impact the ability for the energy reserves to be there, to have an active race, a fun experience, to be rewarded for the risks that you take, the strategic risks that you're taking. As you can see here, Stevie Young from Canyon. Now, this is a situation I would not always be expecting. The sprinter, Young, the Python, has made a breakaway here now. Look at the Python off the front here with Levi driving the pace here, and they've gained 23 seconds. And I think what happened here, I have to go through some of we are recording for the replays here, and I may be able to go back and grab a shot of exactly when this took place, but I believe that this happened on the little uphill kick into the lap section of the course out there. And that would be a perfect situation, as you do get an uphill grind, a little bit of a 1% grain. And this is the two teams with a lot of the firepower in and amongst this race out here today. KISS Racing Team, along with the Canyon ZCC team here. So Levi as well as Young here off the front with a solid 38 seconds. I don't think that this is coming back together here, as they've got a solid break. Iverson from DBR, C. Ward. Now, there are a lot of riders behind here who could do some work, but I'm not sure there's the teams that would need to be in here in order to bring this back here, as we are seeing Iverson trying to work together with Ward. Vang, though, from the KRT team, they're not going to do any work. We also here from Canyon's not going to do any work. It's going to be up to 3R, DBR to get together here and start putting in some work at the front, as well as Ward here from ETG. So these three riders from three different teams, it's going to be up to them at this point to really put some work in and bring this 26-second gap back together here. But KRT here off the front, Young now driving the pace. Now, I'm not sure that Young's going to do a whole lot of work with Levi here, so this might be up to Jonathan here to do most of the brunt of the work here. 6.3, 6.4 watts per kilogram. Now, if we look behind 21 seconds, we might just start to see in the background there, just at the bottom of that climb, I believe we did see Ward this rounding the corner there, 7 watts per kilogram. Vyausen now going up into 8 watts per kilogram. Levi now looking to kick up in the 9. Is he going to try and get away from Young? This would be an interesting situation, whether or not he wants to actually go and create his own solo T situation, because this is not a rider that you really want to sit in with for the duration of 4 laps and just sprint at the end here as Stevie Young's got a solid 1,500 watt sprint, indoor sprint. This guy can kick, that's for sure. So Levi now with the dropout, though. No, Jonathan Levi needs the hands are probably raised in the air at this point. Like, no, what is happening with my Zwift? And now a flat tire. The team cars come up. He's gotten it. They've gotten it going again. But Young is off the front. But I don't think Young wants to go alone. Young's probably like banging his hand as well on the table, going, no, this is not the situation I want either. I don't want a TT alone. I'm the sprinter. I'm sitting here waiting to strike like a python. The snake is just sitting in amongst the rocks here, rattling. But here's Levi now, 5.2 watts per kilogram. And Young, is he going to try and put the pressure on? I'm not sure. It looked like he was going to just wait up a little bit, but he's got to keep the speed high. Levi's got to get his jeans moving here as we see 181. He was already up in the 187s here. Needs to recover from this, but it looks like the dropouts are coming left and right here for Jonathan Levi. He's got to get that chain back on. It looks like he's got some sort of mechanical issue going on here. And even in the world of Zwift, that's how it works here. You've got to have every part of your setup really solid. And now it keeps dropping down to 0 watts per kilogram there. There's also reality. I threw my hands up in the air a little bit the other day as I was doing the off-the-map tour makeup stage 1 over on my Go Gara channel, and was having a couple of dropouts, and I was like saying during the broadcast, we gotta plug in the trainers. And if anyone who's listened to the Zwiftcast, you know how Nathan feels about trainers that do not plug in. It's definitely something that we have been talking about for quite a long time, and I hope to see a little bit of a catch-up in the world of trainer manufacturers with that specifically. Getting those trainers plugged in, I think, should be a super high priority when it comes to the racing scene. But let's go ahead and see if we can find where this break actually took place in and amongst the A category. I believe it was going to be right around, it was definitely during the lap section here, as we are seeing here on the lap banner coming through the start finish here. Iverson going right along, it looks like, with Young. Young and Hodges at the front there, 8, 11, 12 watts per kilogram. So the break was solid there. Now, we won't have solid camera angles as these cameras we're just watching, grabbing the view from whoever we were on at that point. But Levi and Young definitely going at that section. So that is the replay there of the break that did take place. But Levi with some dropouts here. I have a feeling his mechanical issues maybe just too much at this point. Can't get that flat tire moving here. And now Stevie Young off the front. Now this is almost opportunity for the broadcast, though, as we might have just had a breakaway situation that we weren't going to see anything but 2 riders just trading poles here. So we might have to see another go at it, as I'm not sure Stevie Young's going to be able to be the type of rider that can just walk away with this kind of an effort here. But now Levi here, now off the back again, 6 watts per kilogram. It looks like, too bad to see Jonathan Levi. You know, he was in it for the break. Looked like he was going to try and get the W here, but not going to be happening. Now we do see Be Awesome with Ward and Iverson now countering here. Vang only 7 seconds back. Sorry to see the dropouts. We're seeing dropouts here from Levi. Levi maybe jumping off real quick and throwing the extender maybe a little bit closer to the trainer, or maybe trying to mess with too many fans in the kitchen, we're seeing from Levi here. Now Viasen here with an aero power up, though, trying to get across from his teammate. Now, if this is a situation that could be dangerous, though, if we see Canyon ZCC off the front with 2 of their top riders, this will be a team time trial to the finish here. We're halfway through the race now, 16 kilometers in. It's about a 38-kilometer race in total here. Young now looking to jump on the Canyon ZCC's wheel. Iverson here looking to go across. Looks like it's not going to be happening. Iverson, just the workhorse on the day, but does not seem to have the kicks that are needed to try and go with any of these serious attacks out there. And it looks like Iverson now going to just sit in steady Eddie in it here with C Ward, from ETG. Hodges now, it looks like, fading as Vang, and it looks like Kalen, 3 KRT riders here looking to work together perhaps to bring back this group ahead. This could be a solid chase here of 6 riders with Iverson, Ward, Kalen, Gakes, and they've got enough firepower, I think, amongst them to try and work together and bring this back. But as we see now, Ward here, not too interested in being caught by the KRT riders. Behind here, Hodges now 7 watts per kilogram as we do look behind at this point, and we'll see that the attacks over the top here heading into the sprint section look to be keeping that gap pretty solid. 3 seconds between the groups here. This is Chase Group 1, followed up by Chase Group 2 right behind them. James Hodges, we've seen Gakes, we've seen Morton Bang, Tom Kaland here, the mountain biker out of Norway. A couple of, looks like KRT riders there. Looking to close things down. But Levi there, off the back, too many dropouts now. As we do see the Chase Group number 3 out here with Jay Lecoq from the KRT team. Fair up here now, 6.4 watts per kilogram with Bergenski. And then we're seeing it looks like Team Activists with Lundqvist and Kroll. Worthington from the BRT team. It's only 1 minute back. There's still hope for them if they are able to work together here. As the double draft not being on, they could put in a solid effort there. Because I do have the feeling that effort is hugely rewarded out there today. And with the new Peloton or blob dynamics that we do have out there for what kind of speeds the riders can hold with the work that they do put in. A little bit of a tweak out there to that, and it looks like it does make it so that, you know, there is a little bit more reward for the risk that you are taking out there. As Young here and Liney Vossen now proven that to be true. Back in with the B category, though. Let's go ahead and see how things are working out with them, as we are seeing it looks like Showair still hanging tough in this front group here as they do make their way back past, it looks like, the National Museum, New York's National Museum here, and making their way into the west end of the park out of the north. They're heading south now. We do see Magnus toward the front here. This is the lead group now. There is a chase group, I do believe, about a minute behind this group. Shayna Powell is able to make this front group. I do believe Amanda Korger here now in chase group number 3, I believe this is. Oh, excuse me, maybe 3, maybe 4 out of courses. It is RB from the Dirt team. This guy was actually, Dirt here, was in the lead group, but looks like unable to hang on amongst them. This is a solo chase sitting in 16th place. Art Bradbury here now we are seeing sitting in 11th place looking for a new aero power up for the Turbo team. Look, this is Rosamund Bradbury actually, so did not realize the UK national champion is hanging out in amongst the pack here. So good to see Rosamund jumping in here for Team Turbo. Bradbury looking to throw down out here today, and she has actually made the lead group with Shayna Paulus, and good to see we've got some top tier women in this B category out here, and women that have definitely proven themselves out there in real life. Let's go ahead and take a quick look over at zwiftpower.com real quickly, see what kind of powers have been thrown down for the race so far out there today. Also, want to jump in with the comments. I see there's been a lot of them. There's been so much action, everybody. It's been tough just to keep up. So I'm going to have to go through a lot of the comments here. Z Kreider. Hi, Nathan. Right on Racer. I'm seeing. Okay, so we're seeing a whole lot of comments. I'm going to just go through all the comments here real quick that are, most of them. Maybe not all the trolling ones, but we're going to go through a bunch of the comments here and say hello to everybody real quick. And you guys out there in the community, this is all about you. This is all about the test labs are all about, interacting with you, getting your feedback, and making sure we're highlighting the viewers out here as well that are jumping in for the broadcast. One of the things, too, is we're trying to make interesting broadcasts. That's another part of this. That's why I'm like, hey, we need broadcast tools. We're going to try and get those going for next week. But jump in if you have any feedback or questions during the broadcast that we can maybe be able to jump in with. We'll try and do so. Bob is slower. We're hearing here from Z Kreider there as well. Daphne Williams saying no draft. I'm already dying. So that is one thing that we want to keep eyes on. It's an interesting tweak, because if we take away double draft, it seems like the pack doesn't travel quite as fast, but at the same time, do you have the energy reserves that you need? Maybe there's other things that we can do, though, in order to get a better draft without turning better double draft on. We'll see if there are some stuff that we might be able to tweak in the future. Are these test things standard Zwift events that any of us can join? Andy Zwift, These ZCL test labs are events that you can join. Jump right on into them. Be on the lookout for them scheduled on the Zwift events. I believe next week we may be moving away from Tuesdays. We're going to see. We're jumping in with perhaps the Fusion, the new Fusion series. That's the way that they're organizing their race. I have a feeling we might be working with them. But yes, you can jump into these community events. And also the other thing about this is, like, guys, once we start tweaking this a little bit, and we start getting down to like some settings, we want to work with race promoters to be like, hey, these are the settings that we used. Maybe this is something, in the future that we can open up a little bit more, because this seems to be what's working to make entertaining racing. But we need more racers. We need as many racers as we can get to jump in there and make this an active, entertaining race. So jump into these races each week. Be looking for them. We'll be doing them once a week for as long as we need to. Actually, what's most likely going to happen is we'll be doing these forever. Well, for as long as we're doing Zwift broadcasting and racing, we'll be doing these because we're never going to stop learning. We're never going to stop tweaking. So we're going to keep on trying to add new features and enhancing what we can to the game. Usually the gap is covered by now, David Riley is saying. So I have a feeling I saw that too. Right on, Jonathan Levi. Good to see Katie hanging out here. Cannon chasing each other down. That was interesting, Adam Zimmerman here. Keep racing tenacious, Adam Zimmerman. Loving it, man. Loving it. Police leaders often felt like it was near impossible to get an even 10-second gap with a committed breakaway. Dwan Grain, exactly. And that, I think, is what we're seeing here, is that we're seeing a little bit of a difference in the ability to make a quick break. So good to see that this is working. Katie, I have a feeling there's some crying emojis. That's what all those boxes are, and that was when the dropout happened there. Time to TT Stevie. Well, it looks like him and Stevie Young and Lionel are off the front here. Let's jump in with a couple of more of the comments, and we'll get right back into the racing. Everybody, just want to make sure we're in with all the social media integration and getting this. Riders get dropouts still. Thought it was 2017. Plug in the trainers. Someone using a microwave. I'm loving the comments here. Blame the bunnies coming from Ian Anderson here. Bluetooth is toothless too often here. And let's see what else here. Z-Power guy, 4.9 is destroying the field mid-race. Thanks a lot, David Williams. I really appreciate there. Shout out to Nathan. Epic Streams and Comedy. Thanks a lot, Victor. Appreciate it very much. All right, back in with the racing, everybody. If you do have a question or a comment, or you want to show us your Zwift setup or anything like that, you can do that as well. We can bring in images, so tweet at us some images at Z Community Live. I believe you'll be able to even bring them in through the Facebook chat. If you do have any kind of setups or anything you do want to show us from home. But it's not all said and done yet over on the A category race, actually. There's still plenty of racing to go because these boys are only 24 seconds ahead. We thought it was over. We thought with only a lap and a half to go, this was said and done. But Canyon, they still got the work cut out for them as there is a chase group behind. Hungry pack of wolves here. Hodges now, KRT, 7.8 watts per kilogram. And this is most likely going to be more than what the boys ahead have because he's been able to work together with the pack. These boys ahead are just putting everything on the line. Ward now looking to go. It looks like Vang here needs to get on the wheel of his KRT rider just ahead of him. 7 watts per kilogram from him to close that gap. Ward maybe looking to go across solo, though. See, Ward, 2-second gap here. Vang's got to drag James Hodges up to the wheel. Iverson, again, the Iverson is so steady, but the steady does not win races. It's all about the kicks. The VO2 max is the thing that makes the breaks, and then you got to go steady. Iverson's got to close this gap down. Hodges and Kalen just going to sit on the wheel, as you can see here, on that green Tron bike here, but the 4-second gap. Vang looking to go across here. They're going to have to put in a monstrous effort, though, to go across the canyon, but they're looking for at least the 3rd spot on the podium out there today. Ward with the 7-second gap ahead of this rider, but 2 seconds to Vang. Vang with 11 meters to close down. It looks like he might be able to make this happen as we do see Morton Vang jump right onto the wheel. Now it's not time to put the work in. Close it down the canyon off the front here. One of the only professional teams out on Zwift here, as you can see. Well, professional Zwift teams, we would call them. Canyon ZCC here. Belgium rider Vialsen here along Stevie Young sitting in solid. They've got 17 seconds. It's come down a little bit. It was out to 30 at one point here. 15 seconds now. They see the chase coming. We do see it kick into 6 watts per kilogram as Vang pushes at the front here. 362 watts. Absolute suffering here. Drooling most likely over the handlebars. Fans cranking AC on. Can he bring that power up here? Hodge is now trying to go across 5.9 watts per kilogram, looking to grab onto Iverson's wheel. He's dropped Kalen. This pack has been splintered to pieces out here, out on course. And these settings here, I have a feeling, are definitely, okay, guys, we might turn double draft back on next week. I want to see the difference between what's going on here right now and what's going on because we have a smaller pack that is a reality here, and this is just splintered. Like the ability to move quickly in the game has been reduced a little bit, and then you turn off double draft on top of that, and it just looks like it's just watt fest out here, just power v power out there. That is something we don't necessarily want to see, and as the riders are having trouble getting energy reserves from tactically sitting on wheels, perhaps that DD may help out a little bit on this course specifically. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Watopia Hilly with the single climb and then the downhill is something that just doesn't suit breakaway situations. So also with the Fusion ECT race TikTok, it'd be interesting to see with something like that. It's a little bit flatter with a kick each lap. If breakaways are able to survive. So we'll keep on testing, you guys. We'll keep on changing things up. But it looks like with the number of riders that we have in here today, mixed in with these settings, with DD off and a little bit slower pace here, man, it is just a suffer fest out here today. Essentially, this Test Labs is essentially come out and suffer as much as you possibly can, as looks like they are riding in mud, Casey Shum is saying. And, that was one of the things, some of the feedback that we did see from riders, as well as some of the ideas, I believe, with Zwift HQ was like just having fast-moving packs was something that looked cool and looked good, right? And it does look like they're moving a little bit slower out there, but 56, 57 kilometers per hour, definitely not moving slow out there, but definitely not flying at the same paces that we are used to seeing out there. Now back in with these B category riders. Rosamund Bradbury here now at the front of the heading toward the front of this group as they are heading back over to the west end of the course, 24 kilometers in, just 2 kilometers behind the main group out there of the A category. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they're passing a few of the stragglers out there. Looks like McGlue here toward the front for innovation was unable to make that earlier attack stick. We'll jump back in with the C category in just a moment. Then a solo situation. Szymanski seems to always find himself in this. How did Szymanski, tell me, how do you get into these situations? Is this from too much typing? Are you typing during your race too much out here? Szymanski hammering away in the C category. 9th place solo effort here at this point. Toward the front end of the C category, we do have, it looks like, these as well as Godfrey here still heading into their third and final lap out here today. So out is Godfrey. It looks like Logan is here as well. It's been for each lap about 17-minute laps, it looks like. So 17 minutes to the finish of the C category race. We'll keep eyes out here on this category for their finishes. They are doing 3 laps out there again. 3 laps for the C category and the D category. And that is another thing. We do want the races to finish in about a little bit under an hour, and it looks like we are aiming very well at that at this point. So good to see that that's working out for each one of the racers out here today, as well as get the best workout that they possibly can. So Szymanski is saying drop out at Z Community Live. They're teasing me. Hardly any change in the gap. So they're changing a little bit out there, teasing him a little bit out there, saying for him maybe not a bad move if he felt Canyon was gone. It was him versus 4-man team. That is a good point on the A category when it comes to Ward, as he does come through the sprint section out here. We'll just jump into them real quick. So not a bad move. Good call there, Casey Shum, as it's him versus KRT essentially out there. Iverson from DBR here. Vang here looking to still go across as he was unable to hang on to Ward's wheel, as you can see. Looking through the pack now, it looks like just absolutely demolished. Stafford Williams, full 5 minutes back here. Corral Worthington from the BRT team sitting in 13th place, working with Kroll as well as Jay Lecoq here. Bragensky. Gates here now, 14-second gap between him and that chase group containing Jay Lecoq, and it looks like Team Activist for Lundqvist here. Kalen here out in no man's land trying to chase down his teammates Hodges and Iverson. This is chase group number 4 out there. I mean, this is absolutely sprinted, and Canyon here showing us what they've got for the power in here and why they are a professional team, semi-pro team out on Zwift here, because they know how to race it. They know how to put the power down out here. Vang here now 5.2, as you can see, 289 or so. 160 beats per minute, just TT mode here at this point. So what is interesting, I think, out on the course here today, is it the lack of bodies? And we do, we're going to need more participation perhaps. So shout out to everybody out there watching. Participate if you can. Because is it just the number of bodies that are out there? Is it the double draft? Is it, perhaps this is just a Watt Fest out here and turning the double draft back on this course specifically. It'd be interesting to see if the groups do stick together. So I'm going to shout that out. Next week, you guys, we want to change up the variables as much as we possibly can, right? We don't want to just be like, oh, this seemed to work this way, and oh, this, and just kind of have this like sweeping generalizations and just make any kind of assumptions. We definitely want to make this as much of a test labs as we possibly can. And so in good scientific style, we are going to remove variables, add variables, and we're only going to do 1 or 2 at a time and then see what actually works out amongst the racers week in and week out. So make sure you're showing up to test these things out. Back in with the C category, the break maybe perhaps looking to be happening here as they do head on over into the climb in the northern part of the park here. Now it is going to be Carew from race 3R now trying to jump back onto the wheel. It looks like Ellsridge here, Locust here, McDonald now, Godfrey, Stanley all sitting in. D-Stead from Team Experimental. Look as it just strings out, looking to grab the wheel just in front of them. C category again, this is going to be riders that can hold 2.5 to 3.2 watts per kilogram for their functional threshold power. Stead here from Team Experimental now, trying to go across as the gap does open up a little bit here to a few of the riders ahead as we do look down from the camera views. A little bit of a gap here being set up by PDX here. Ellsridge here now as he looks to maybe try and get away as they head into this. This is the final climb for them again, too. They do not have another lap to go. So if this rider does get a gap and can solo away here, he's only got about, I believe it is 5K to the finish line. But now another kick here coming from Locust. Now McDonald, see McDonald here from the US of A, jumping onto that wheel here. This is the gap that they may need in order to create this race-winning move. Get away from a few too many of these riders sitting in here as you do not want too much of a bunch sprint. It is an uphill finish, though, out here today, so it is going to favor somebody who's got a solid kick on an uphill, a little bit more of a puncher, more of a juju type rider out there. Well, as we did see Alaphilippe, perhaps not so much of a puncher anymore, as we saw him go over plenty of mountains in the TDF this past July here. But now Chapa off the front, he was able to get away, it looks like, with M. Ray from race 3R just pretty recently. I think this happened as they did head through the southern section of the New York Central Park course here. Now 18 seconds is the difference here. I do not believe we're going to see Russell Cripps here, the Colonel, chasing down his 3R teammate off the front. Ray's been trying to get away all day out here. Now it is going to be the question, though, between Bradbury and Paulus is going to be the battle, I believe, for first place amongst the women. I'm just going to double check ZwiftPower.com real quick to make sure no other women have jumped in amongst this B category, but it is going to be Shayna Paulus, Rosamund Bradbury battling it out for first place amongst the women out there today. A little bit of feedback now coming in from Reese from ZCC. He says, I'm wetter than if I was riding in the rain. So it's a hard day out there on Zwift. I'm getting the feeling. Okay, so I have a feeling that we're going to get some feedback on the forums. Make sure to jump in the forums as soon as they are live and let us know what you think. But I have a feeling that people are going to be like, That was too hard. That didn't feel. That just felt like I was just grinding up a hill the entire time. And if that is what is going on here, perhaps we do need a little bit extra drafting out there today. We are hearing that the B group split into very early. I'm guessing because no double draft. So this does seem to favor a TT rider, but need a larger pack. I'm with you there, Casey. So perhaps that's what's going on here. Again, though, even in the A category, there was, in an elite race. 28 riders in an elite race is kind of normal, right? Like 28 to 50 riders. It's not like you're getting maybe 100. In a large local race, right? These are kind of like local A elite races. So I love to see no DD race again. Finally, some payoffs for strongest riders and no wheel suckers. So and that Bergen, this was from your feedback too. We were like, all right, well, let's see how no DD goes. So. That doesn't make entertaining racing, doesn't make fun racing. It does reward the strongest riders. We will see that in some senses. Doesn't reward the strongest and the most tactical riders at the same time. So there is that as well. So we definitely want to get the mixture in there, but we'll try some new testing this next week. Racing Mike is letting us know the draft felt well. Racing Mike, who's currently in no man's land, is letting us know that the draft felt great. So that makes a lot of sense. Heading into the final lap here now for the B category. Roseman here now kicking into 260 watts now. The UK national champion here looking to follow Paulus now, as we are seeing they are heading into that 1% uphill grade, and this is the section that you can create a breakaway pretty easily if you do have the watts to give, because it is this false flat situation where the draft doesn't matter quite as much. Schmidt now on a little bit of attack here. Can they get to the front of this group here and just drive the pace to try and bring back that 20 seconds in the B category? We'll have to wait and see. Back in with the A's, though, they are heading into their final time up the climb. 44 minutes into the climbing here. They'll be finishing in just a little bit under an hour. So perhaps a little bit slow as well, or maybe we'll bring it back by one lap perhaps next week as well. 2 laps for the C's, 3 laps for the C's, 2 laps for the C's and the D's, and 3 laps on the park perimeter loop for the A's and the B's. Perhaps that would be a more suited time frame, as we do look to be right around that 45 to 55 minute mark here. They're definitely moving a little bit slower out here today. Austin here now 450 watts, 6.9 watts per kilogram. It'd be interesting to see what DD does though on this course, and I think that's what we're going to kick in here for next week. 1 minute gap here back to Vang with Iverson as well. Hodges now 4.3 watts per kilogram. Lundqvist now Gakes as well as Kalen. Fair up now a little ways behind here, as we're seeing this is Chase Group number 3 out on course. Chase number 4 out on course, as Ward is Chase Group number 2 and Vang number 3 now. 9.4 watts per kilogram coming for the Austin. Is he going to drop his teammate off at this point? I wonder if there's a little bit of chatter there, or if there's just no love lost at all in the Discord between the Canyon boys. Back in with the C category, McDonald here currently sitting in first place. Now moving his way backward. As you can see, a little bit of drafting here. Still a pack in the C category, which is interesting to see. So, DD, maybe not as much of an issue for these boys. They're definitely able to work together out here, or perhaps just not quite as much action between them out on course here. So let's go ahead and see if we do have anybody hanging out into the Discord. Now, if you haven't jumped into the Discord channel, we are willing and totally all about helping everybody learn how to use Discord for voice communication. There should be a link in the. We're going to be posting a link in the. We'll go ahead and edit the broadcast afterwards, but there's been a link thrown around an awful lot for the Discord. Make sure to jump in there. Zwift Community Live's Discord. You can also find it over on our website, as well as we'll be posting it next week in the event details. So I also put it in on the forums as well. So if you are looking for that link, just as a reminder, you can use our Discord for a team car to interact with each other during the broadcast, as well as during your race. So we are doing that so that we can bring in live feedback from you guys, voice-wise, as well as get interviews after the race too. So It's something that we want to work on the broadcast side of things to get more of the real life efforts out there as well. Now, we have had some offers for people to bring in their live feeds. Now, if anybody's out there streaming, obviously they're maybe not going to want to share what their share their stream directly with us rather than on their live channel. Now, there might be ways for us to grab your stream though before it does hit up your live channel, or push it to us as well as to your live channel. We can work with you to try and make that happen if you do have a streaming setup, or if you just have a camera and a mic, we might be able to bring you in through our software as well. So if you are, we have had some offers out there for next week. I believe we are pushing this a little bit later in the week, so we'll be able to have some extra time for setup, as we are going to be covering, I believe, the Fusion race next week on Tuesday. So we're looking at Wednesday or Thursday for the test labs for next week now. So back in with the B categories, they're heading into their final time around for the climb here. And the race out here today, of mention, it is 3R off the front. 47 seconds, 48 seconds now for these riders. They head into their final few K here. About 4K to go to the finish line here, but it's going to be Carson from 3R now on the down here with Shayna Paulus sitting in. The battle here for first place amongst the women is still going on in this group specifically, but then and that is between the UK national champion, Rosamund Bradbury of Zwift, the UK national champion of Zwift, Rosamund Bradbury, who won that in real life on BT Sport Live, actually. Bradbury now for Turbo, making her way to the front end of the pack here as we do look at her in that national champs kit. Now, she's going to have a workout out there up against in real life pro show air 2020 Shayna Paulus out there. She's been jumping into these B category races each week, so we'll keep eyes on that for the sprint out there today. But a little bit of attack we're seeing up ahead here. Well, now only 27 seconds. They're almost in sight, actually. If we do look behind here, will we see the chase group? 27 seconds is not a whole lot. See if we can bring the camera in here a little bit and get a view. 26 seconds back to Bradbury on the kick behind here. Now let's hear from Vision now. 6.5 watts per kilogram we're seeing behind as well. Quinn LaFay's in here, who's got a solid sprint. And we'll see if the Vision riders here can put in an effort to bring this back together. It is only 4 or 5K to the finish line here still. So interesting to see whether or not Vision can pull this back together now. A little bit of attack here coming from Colonel Cripps putting the attack on, but perhaps going to shut that down. That's only going to speed things up. 46 seconds here to the front of the race here. And they've got a rider off the front, so perhaps are they working against that rider? No, they shut it down. 2.0 watts per kilogram. Race 3 are completely in control of the front of the race. Look at nothing but red, white, and blue on the front here now. As it is Cripps, then it's going to be Hetherington, Martin, and Bradbury now sitting in steady toward the front end of this race. Paulus able to hang on, it looks like, just behind in that Show Air 2020 kit now. A couple of riders here struggling to hang on. Now, where's LaFay? Has Quinton been dropped off? No, just able to claw his way back to this front group. But now the question is anybody going to be a workhorse in the front and bring back that 30 seconds out there today? Back in with the, never seen this in a B race because of category constraints. We're hearing from Stern. I'd love to hear feedback on that. And I did see, Sterny, I appreciate you jumping into the Discord channel as well. I did see your chat over on Zwift Community Live's Discord channel. Stern, I'd love to hear you expound on it. If you want to jump into the Discord, I'd bring you on in to have a chat about it, even if you wanted to. What kind of category restraints are we talking about for the B category? I'd love to know and get some feedback on that as well. A couple more things. Double draft is not the answer to any question, Dave Ranson. Oh man, loving it. Well, maybe we got to change a couple other things up then, or as well. Maybe we bring the CD. We bring the Peloton. Let the Peloton move a little bit faster. Maybe maybe there's a couple other things, but we're gonna see if double draft helps out at all next week on this course specifically. Removing variables and adding variables, what it's going to be all about in the test labs out here. So heading into the final few K here now, as we've got Viasen and Young. They've got 57 seconds. They're not being caught. The main race behind here is, can we try triple draft? We'll see about that, Reese. I appreciate I could, maybe. I'll have to ask. see if we'll see if we can grab a triple draft for you. Cheers. I get it. I got you. I'll see if we can grab a triple draft for you. Cheers. I appreciate it very much. But we'll bang here now on the chase with Iverson Hodges. 111 back though to this chase group, so it's nothing but splintered out here today. So it's been a sufferfest here for the riders, and 52 minutes into the race, and still a little bit of racing to go here for the Canyon Riders as they grind their way through what Casey Shum has called the mud of the environment of Zwift racing out here today. With the C category, we did, I think we just missed their finish. I'm going to see if I can move my way back to them quickly here as they do finish up. And we do have Delhi here just coming across the line, and it looks like Johnson as well as Thompson here now coming across the line in just a moment. But I will jump back in. This is 12th place currently. Zano here. We're going to go ahead and bring in the C category. So 12th place. So they have finished. I'm going to go ahead and grab the replay as I do have it here for you guys in just a moment. Apologies that we did miss that C category momentarily, but we will be able to bring in the finish for all of you of that C category in just a second here, as they did just come across the line. Now we do have an attack here, though, coming in that A category, though. It looks like it's going to be Stevie Young versus Vyausen here. Looks like Lionel, though, he's got the kick. It's an uphill battle between the riders, and Vyausen here maybe going to walk away with this one in front of his teammate, and it looks like that is going to be the case here. As Lionel Vyausen crossing the line, Stevie Young now coming across in second place there. What a battle here between the riders. Solid efforts all around in this A category. But, Canyon ZCC showing us why they are that semi-pro team out on course here. So now we do have C Ward here making his way to the line. Zano just finishing in the C category. The B category making their way to the line here as well. We are seeing Kersey from race 3. Wow, that was tough, but far better suited to me as a heavy rider in the C's. Martin Carews letting us know. I think I even won the C wave. Martin, I'll be looking for you out there. Thanks a lot for the comments, and I will see if we can grab your finish in just a moment in that C category. And glad to hear the feedback. Make sure if you do have any feedback, again, everybody, check out the link. We're trying to get that live. It'll be over on Zwift's forums, official forums, and we'll be looking to get all the feedback that you do have about the race, as well as your ideas, and we'll try new things out as they do come through. As well as it's a great place to hear back from the community. And being on Zwift's official forums, it is a place where we can have a little bit of a powwow back and forth. So here we go with race 3R, though, and Chapa. 50 seconds off the front. But what we are also watching for is the sprint that's going to be happening in that B category, especially amongst Paulus and Bradbury, as they still are all together. Will be interesting to see. Bradbury was able to show that she is a solid sprinter at the UK National Championships. Paulus, I'm not sure she's been able to show us any a solid sprint as of yet in the community races. We'll see if she can go up against Bradbury here. I do believe Bradbury, being a little bit larger rider, is going to have more of a kick out there as she does lead things out here now. 174 beats per minute, though, as they head toward the finish line. Chopping out 8.2 watts per kilogram on the attack as he rounds the left-hand turn here. Gets a little bit of a gap here. 6 meters is the difference now. Paulus now 2.4 watts per kilogram behind at the front of the main pack. It looks like she's just making sure she's covering each and every one of the moves. Not going to find herself at the back. It's all about positioning. Very cagey rider, knows how to ride in real life and be a part of the break situations, be a part of a pack and smart riding in real life racing. So I think she's definitely using some of that to her advantage here at this point. Chopping out 8 watts per kilogram coming from him. Race 3 are starting to hang on M. Ray here now as they are heading to the line. Chopper, though, on the attack, not able to get much out of it here. Hetherington now toward the front end of this B category now, as we can see, controlling the race for race 3R, not closing things down. I think it's all said and done for that front group anyways at this point. I don't think they'll be able to bring them back unless we saw a hugely concerted effort. It's mainly 3R here in this group here, so I think they're just controlling this at this point and allowing M. Ray to do the work at the front. Even if they were caught, though, they've got plenty of firepower in there, and we're probably not going to see any of these other racers here looking to put in a lot of work, as 3R will just sit on and then take full advantage of the situation. So it's just about a K or so to the finish line. 7 watts per kilogram. Chopping now with another kick. Does not want this to come to the line. He wants to break away at this point. And Ray now covering the move here, as you can see. An arrow power up. He gets the gap and throws down an arrow power up. This is a very early move with that arrow power up coming from Choppa now. 7.5 watts per kilogram. 172 beats per minute here now. He's got the gap. He's got to hold on to it, though. It's 16 meters. 16 meters is not a whole lot in Zwift, though. Still out of the saddle. Getting to the Choppa out of the saddle here now. Ray, though, he's got a power up of his own. Here comes Ray, though, but does he got the wattage, though? I'm not sure he's going to be able to close this down. It's only 2 seconds to the line here. Choppa's got it here at this point across the line in the Zwift Community Test Labs. It's going to be Choppa, followed up by M. Ray. Back in with the B category. Oh, we got to get back to them, boys and girls, and it's going to be toward the front, Bradbury here. Here we go. Another kick. Weatherington now. Paulus here from Show Air. Lewis now trying to go, as we can see. And it's going to be Lewis at the front here with an arrow power up. Absolutely demolishing this sprint with a crazy cadence now. Where's Paulus? Is she going to take down Bradbury, though? That's going to be the next question. There's LaFay coming in just behind, or just ahead of Paulus, I believe. I think Paulus perhaps came in just a little ways behind Bradbury. We're going to go ahead and hit that replay button here real quick. We'll see if we can grab that here for you guys and gals here in just a second, as I believe we've got, let's see if this is the right one in here. Nope, we've got Horwood. And that's not the right one. We're going to have to, we'll jump on back into the replays here in just a second. We got a little bit of organization for them. But if you're just tuning in, that was the Zwift Community Live Test Labs race number 3 out there today. And a little bit of changes. The changes that we did make it out there today. A little bit slower pack is the idea, without double draft on. And only offensive power-ups. It looked to be a situation, from my perspective, from what I saw, rewarding pure wattage out there and not quite as much energy reserves to make tactical attacks and work together. And when packs got a breakaway, we said this time and time again that a breakaway needs to be rewarded for the effort that they put in, but then also be able to sit in and gain energy by sitting in. It looked like there might not have been the best ability to sit in and gain energy very well. So we'll have to wait and see, how the feedback, though, comes. I would love to hear from you guys. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the interview on deck with these guys here. It looks like we do have the Canyon Riders. Hey, boys. How are things going? What a race out there today. Give me 1 second. I got to turn all you guys up. But
yeah,
amazing job out there, you guys.
Cool.
What did you think? Can you guys hear me? You got me?
Yeah, I got you now. Got you, mate.
Yeah, it's okay now.
Good. So let's go to Lionel. What did you guys think this week on the test labs? I mean, that looked like you guys were moving through mud a little bit.
Yeah, actually, it was this kind of same of the previous week with creating gap. It's a bit easier than usual, but here I think it was without the double draft. Yeah, we knew we had a chance, so we worked together, and yeah, it works really well. And I think with the setup here, when you are in the front, you need to push a bit more than before, but you can recover better in the wheel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree with Lionel. Sitting in the wheel up the road definitely felt a lot easier than normal. I've been in many breaks on this game, and it just felt you could recover a lot quicker.
So you felt like the recovery. Well, okay. So that was the other question I was thinking about. Like, did it feel like you were able to get away easier? So there was that. The brakes were able to get away easier, but you did actually feel like, because there was no double draft down. Did you feel like perhaps the pack just had to work harder to bring you back? Like was it like just who's got the wattage rather than like tactically able to work together? Like you guys actually felt like you're able to draft off each other, sit in, and work together to keep your break. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, actually, it's a bit weird. It's like if you are within 3 meters from the guys in front of you, it's I won't say it's the same as double draft, but you have a good draft. But then when you fall like 4 and 5 meters, then you have really to push harder to get back in the wheel. And yeah, when you are together with two guys in the front like we were, it was okay because we can go each other, do turns. And if the guys behind was a group of 4, I think, or 5, it was kind of same as us. So because before with the double draft, it would be, I would say, impossible.
Nate, let's not forget, like, we've got Lionel Vujasin up the road, and I'm trying to hold his wheel in many points on this course. Let's not forget this guy. This guy's a beast. Lionel, you're a beast. You've got to remember that.
Yeah, I think there is that reality too there, but I think the other part of it, you know, Lionel, that's an interesting point that you made right there, and that's something that I definitely want to pay attention to. Is that you said once you were 4 or 5 meters out, you had to really get in on the draft again. So, you know, wouldn't it be cool if we had something where like you could see how much draft you were getting, where you could see how much draft you were getting? If we had a situation where like perhaps it's not double draft that we need more metrics on what draft we're actually getting at that moment, because it sounds like you had to really work at finding that sweet spot, but once you did, it worked well, unless I'm not hearing you right.
Yeah, that's exactly that. Because at some points, I think it was in the third lap, I lose the wheel from Steve, and I have to push like 9 watts per kilo just to get to come back. And when I was just in within 3 meters, I could ride like 2 watts per kilo, 3 watts per kilo, and yeah, it's a huge difference, I would say.
Okay, so perhaps with the changes on the speeds, it just has a little bit more to do with finding the draft correctly. Well, that's interesting feedback. We'll definitely want to hear that more. You guys, great race out there today. Lionel taking the win. Stevie, what happened in the sprint? Come on, Python. You no kick. That wasn't the bite.
No. Steve gave me the win.
It's only fair, Nathan.
Yeah, we won there together. That's it.
It was only fair. Lionel was, this is part of Lionel's game. He can sit on the front and drag people around, and it's only fair. We're a great gelled team, and we still, whether it's this race or a community league race, we still have a team ethos, and and this is what you do in real life racing as well. When you've got a great domestique rider, and if there's nobody about, it's only fair that Lionel takes the W tonight, but gives me a chance to save the Pythons, Nathan.
Yeah,
Nice.
but
Well
also
done.
it's the circumstance of the race. Also, when KRT moved in the first Harlem Hill, I had to follow because I knew if there were two, they could work together. So I just jumped in. I didn't work, and then Steve come back, and he was in the front with Levi in the front. And then when I see he got drop out, I knew I had to bridge on Steve and work with him. That's just the circumstance of the race. Otherwise, if we were in the peloton, I would go for Steve.
Yeah, and that was definitely a game changer, because I think Jonathan Levi's got the TT effort that you guys probably would have stayed away, and then a sprint situation perhaps at the end. So too bad to see that Jonathan was unable to keep the mechanical situation away. We'll see if things change up for him for next week, because he's definitely somebody who's been really interested in these races. So we'll be watching out for the KRT team. Seems super interested. I mean, they're showing up in force.
We noticed that.
Yeah.
So next week we'll probably be moving to Thursdays. Are you guys liking that change, or what do you? I mean, like you guys are one of the teams. So I mean, this new Fusion thing is looking pretty cool. Any thoughts on what Fusion are up to?
To be honest, for me, it's too early in the season to really do a race series. I just want to keep it chill for the moment, and I will be on holiday for the next 2 weeks. So yeah, I will see you back later in August.
Gotcha. Right on. Right on. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, good to hear you getting a break and focusing in on Zwift racing. Python, what are you thinking about next week?
Yeah, Thursday could work well for the Python. I've got a I've got an outdoor crit on the Tuesday next week, but yeah, it works well with me. Well, I guess it's coincidence really that I can do the Thursday.
It's just a warm up for Python.
Yes.
We're getting a lot of feedback. We'll see what everybody has to say about Thursday. Guys, thanks a lot for the interviews. I appreciate you guys jumping into the race. Congratulations on the race. We're going to get into our results here, and we'll see you hopefully next week.
Cheers, Nathan.
Yeah,
Love you,
cheers,
mate.
Matt.
I love you, Nathan.
Yeah, congrats to.
Okay, so I appreciate those guys so much. And here are the results. Lina Viasen here taking first place. Stevie Young, Colin Ward. Tommy Iverson for fourth place. Morton Vane coming in for fifth. We're seeing James Hodges coming in for sixth place. Mark Worthington for the BRT racing there, seventh. Jacques Lecoq there coming in for eighth. Ninth place goes to Kitiel Philip, and then Tom O'Kalin for 10th place. In that B category, let's go ahead and watch this real quick as we do have a replay for the B category here. Absolutely demolishing the sprint out there. We are seeing here, and that is going to be P. Lewis here. And this was the sprint for third place. The Chopper was the one that came across the line. But as you do see here, Bradbury and Paulus, it was right to the line between Bradbury and Paulus here. We're going to have to wait and look here at the results official here. But it does look like get to the Choppa here, followed up by Matt Ray. That was the first and second, but Paul Lewis, man, walking away with that bunch sprint. Russ Cribbs here now, Chris Schmidt there in fifth. We're seeing Patrick Wetstein, followed up by Ross Heatherton. Quentin LeFay, Rosamond there, slides into ninth place overall and just nips at the line. Shayna Paulus there for Rosamond Bennett for Turbo there. Shayna Paulus there for Show Air 2020 here. It was less than half as a second between them in that B category race. Now, in with the C category, Martin Carew taking the win. Winner, chicken dinner. We saw your chat over in the social media integration and watching over on YouTube. Good to see Martin hammering away and taking the win here just ahead of Christian McDonald. McDonald here, he looked like he was playing a cagey ride too. Logan is there. Lee Desborough there. Martin Elsring there for fifth place. Then Darren Stanley there. It looks like coming in for sixth. Daryl Steed for Team Experimental there coming in for seventh. Lewis Godfrey ride WLF there. And then it will be Mike Szymanski from No Man's Land able to hang on for ninth, followed up by Gary Moraine. Then in the D category, Wannabe, nice job, just ahead it looks like of Neo Leo here. So it looks like they battled it out all out here to the line. Solid effort there between those two. Then in third place it was Christian Brandt, and then it was fourth place goes to Sarah's Willoughby. So thanks for jumping into the Zwift Community Test Labs, everybody. So, again, we will be getting the forums up as quickly as we possibly can. The links, I'm not sure. I haven't tested the link. I'll test the link right now, and we'll see if it's working. But as soon as it's up and working, we want to hear your feedback over on the forums. And we will see you guys over there. And then be watching out for us. Chop Racing is coming up next. That is a very early broadcast for all of you guys in the USA, but that'll be happening on Thursday. And then I believe next week we'll be having 4 or 5 broadcasts. So be watching out for us next week, as we're going to be having a lot of broadcasts as we are starting to ramp up into already the Zwift season. We're in August already, you guys. Fall is coming pretty quickly here, and we're going to start thinking about, preseason. Well, preseason, Zwift season. When is Zwift season anymore? I'm not even sure we know. But we'll start ramping up into the more Zwift broadcasting of racing. Obviously coming up this next week. So thanks everybody for tuning in as always. Thanks a lot to all the racers. Great job all out there. If you haven't hit that follow button, we're live on Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, and Facebook. Turn on your notifications so you know anytime that we do go live. I'm Nathan Guerra from Zwift Community Live. As always, right on.